My friends, did you see Avengers Endgame? I know I did. And I couldn't help but think of it this morning watching Robert Mueller on TV. My name is Howard Real. This is Real Truth. You remember, I don't want to give away any spoilers here. If you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, then switch off your radios right now. But you know how at the end, right before the end, Thanos amasses this massive, incredible army with the flying robots and the animalistic soldiers, and they all come together, and only Captain America is standing there looking at them. And then everything changes. Then the good guys show up. Then Thanos starts to look a little worried, a little scared. And it's the good guys, not the bad guys, who attack and win the day. From the week, headline: Robert Mueller's Day of Disappointments for Democrats. This is written by Damon Linker, and I quote, "It's hard to understand what congressional Democrats hope to achieve by summoning a reluctant Robert Mueller to appear before the House Judiciary and Intelligence Committees on Wednesday," that's today. The former special counsel's exhaustive 448-page report has been done for nearly 4 months. It's been public for 3, with the country having plenty of time to absorb its comically anticlimactic conclusion that although the 2016 Trump campaign did a lot of shady, underhanded things, none of them technically amounted to criminal conspiracy, collusion with the Russian government. And that although there was substantial evidence of obstruction of justice on the part of President Trump himself, by the way, my friends, that's not true, but I'll continue, none of it is actionable because sitting presidents can't be indicted. The whole absurd, convoluted result was perfectly summarized in Mueller's oracular pronouncement at his press conference on May 29th, quote, "If we had had confidence the president clearly did not commit a crime, we would have said so," unquote. My friends, everything came apart today for the Democrats. I watched part of the hearing. I've been reading about it online. Mueller was tentative. There was so much he couldn't say. He couldn't remember things. He asked people to repeat their questions. Jerry Nadler, the chairman of the committee who really pushed for this to happen, sat there like a fool, like the fool that he is, with egg all over his face. Now, The Week, which is a liberal magazine, puts out this stuff about Donald Trump being guilty of obstruction, but they're factually wrong. There has to have been a crime to obstruct. No crime, no obstruction. I wouldn't expect better than that from The Week. But speaking of weak, we got a weak performance from Robert Mueller. Nadler and the Democrats are expecting him, like Thanos, to come out and lay waste, finally, at long last, to Donald Trump. Well, didn't happen. Instead, we had a happy ending, and the people who put forward this hoax, this atrocity, this scandal for almost 3 years, they are the ones who are being destroyed by it. America's watching, and America's catching on that the Democrats have absolutely nothing to say to Americans except insults and slander and lies. And the effect of that will be shown in 2020. For the meantime, it's yet another come-from-behind victory for Donald Trump, who has thus far shown himself to be an extraordinary U.S. president, and all the bad guys and all the villains and all the scumbags on the left cannot lay a glove on him. Thankfully. Item from Breitbart. Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat, Minnesota, was found Tuesday to have told a political opponent in the past that she needed to be deported, using a rhetorical tactic that Democrats have said is un-American and racist. As you recall, last Sunday, President Trump tweeted that Omar and 3 other far-left Democrat congresswomen in the so-called squad should, quote, go back and help fix the totally broken and crime-infested places from which they came, and then come back and show us how it's done, unquote. My friends, here's a truism. It happens again and again and again and again and again. When the Democrats accuse somebody of doing something, invariably, we find out later that the Democrats have themselves done that very thing. Now, here's a piece of excrement called Ilhan Omar. And she made political hay as she could about being told to go back where she came from. By the way, if I was from Somalia. I wouldn't want to go back there either. The place is the toilet that the upper toilets leak down into. I wouldn't want to go back either. But exactly what she accused the president of doing, she herself did. She should pack a bag for herself and Rashida Tlaib, book the first flight anywhere off the continent, and get there ASAP. Item from Reuters, Dateline, Paris. The French government on Wednesday sent to Parliament a draft legislation that would allow in vitro fertilization for lesbian couples and single women, honoring a long-standing campaign pledge but risking a backlash from conservative voters. Unquote. My friends, it does my heart good to see that the folks over in Europe are really focused on the important issues of the day. No, not Iran, not Islam sweeping over Europe, not the environment, none of those things. In vitro fertilization of lesbians. Item from Agence France Presse, Dateline, New York. A new world record for a pair of sneakers was set at auction on Tuesday when an avid collector splashed out $437,500 on Nike's 1972 Moon shoe, Sotheby's said. Folks, it might seem at first that this article was intended as a joke, it was a throw-in. I assure you it was not. There are many evils facing Western society. One of them is triviality. We waste our time on nonsense. We raise the unimportant things up to positions of seeming importance. We put amazing value on things that are really nothing. A pair of sneakers from 1972 going for hundreds of thousands of dollars shows better than I can what a childish society we've become, what an immature, foolish, downright stupid society we are. We spend our lives watching sports and sitcoms and soap operas and playing video games instead of attending to the important business of living our lives, of being good parents, good spouses, good citizens. Would that we could go back to those days. There may be no going back, but I'm trying. It's Wednesday. It's Real Truth, and we'll be right back.
Brian again, Mr. Figment Landscape. What a great season we've had so far. We've installed flower beds and paper products on our patio. We've planted hundreds of trees, shrubs, and flowers, and to the garden. Thank you to all the agencies who gave us all in consideration. If you are in work on love or fitness or physical support, please call us at 970-460-8873 or visit us at sirfigmentlandscaping.com. Is your home built between 1965 and 1975? If so, you may have a please also around 50-year voltage. The old electrical power that never matches back today. The aluminum wire does not get better with time. They are much harder to screw and harder to sell. Aluminum wire repair are much better. Also, the permanent mitigation of the aluminum wire has all been more to now. Aluminum wire 720-4706. Or visit their website at ALWireRepair.com. Don't walk away from a home that's not mine just because it has aluminum wire. Let them help. Their safety is their business. They are equal rates with the better business. Call today. 712-4706. Or visit their website, ALWireRepair.com. I get away from all the traffic and people yearning for a moment of peace and quiet. So I need Brian, trusting experience, cool water with water factor. Experience the raw, sleeping, and empty landscape of water to soothe your soul. Call me at 970-460-8873 or book a trip at trustingmercy.com. Station. Galaxy Chip Rider, JH.
All right, my friends, welcome back to Real Truth. I am Howard Real, and it was hard to watch. It was difficult for me to watch, literally, when I saw the video from New York City, two videos actually, of New York City police officers having water thrown on them by people surrounding them when they went to arrest somebody, someone throwing a bucket at them, and the police did nothing. That's because they were ordered to stand down by perhaps the biggest anus in politics today, New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio. People are calling for the resignation of the chief of police for going along with this fiasco. It is absolutely disgusting. Here's Laura Ingraham on Fox News talking about the culture of disrespect, and I was kind of referring to this in the previous segment. Let's listen to Laura Ingraham. This is a cop having water thrown on him by the animals standing around him. Yeah, the police were okay with a little water, a little street fun. Yeah, that's great. Try throwing water on one of the folks in Harlem and find out what happens to you. That's Black Lives Matter marching. Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. Everybody on the left was okay with this. And then we went through a period of a few months where cops were getting shot in the streets. That's okay for the left. The Democrats and the liberals are okay with that. But it makes any normal person sick. Now here's another view of Black Lives Matter in another city chanting, "What do we want? Dead cops. When do we want them? Now." Folks, this is the left. This is the ugly face of liberalism, which not only approves of this, but encourages it and creates it. An America where cops are regularly fired upon. That's okay with the liberals. Where there are no borders, so every piece of trash in the third world breaks our laws, comes here illegally. That's okay with the liberals, with the Democrats. Well, we won't have an America left if this continues. This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Listen for the stupidity. Absolutely, Rashida Tlaib, of course, a Palestinian congresswoman, of course it's a concentration camp, which means what happened to the Jews back in the 1940s wasn't so bad, right? That's Ilhan Omar. Everything that comes out of her mouth is fetid. It's disgusting. She's a liar and a hater. So is Rashida Tlaib. My friends, people come through Mexico, cross our border illegally, with children yet. Maybe they're human trafficking. Maybe they're carrying drugs. Maybe they're gang members. They come here. They get shuttled into a United States facility where they're given medical attention and food, and they have washing facilities, and there's a place for them to sleep. Does that sound to you like a concentration camp? Well, ask the Democrats, because they assure us that it is. It is absolutely obscene.
But this just isn't like a garden variety case of historical illiteracy. No, 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 no. We've also seen a disrespect of art, history itself too, in its full sweep, as statues and markers that people had walked by and driven by for decades being ripped down because someone somewhere called them offensive. Even the American flag is disrespected, a reprise from the 1960s. And the national anthem, which we all once stood for, is now a point itself of controversy. Sit it out, and you're a hero. Question the kneelers, and you're a villain. If we don't respect ourselves, our traditions, and our turns of our history, we can't expect our young people, or frankly, visitors to our country, to respect them either. You know this is a memorial for the soldiers, right? You speak English? It's a memorial for the soldiers.
Here's people bathing in, wading in this fountain, which is a memorial for soldiers. But they're figuring, hell with the soldiers. We want to get our feet wet. That's where we are today. And people fighting in front of children, squaring off. That was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar, two pieces of excrement, saying, let's abolish ICE, and whoever wants to break our laws, go ahead, God bless them, let them.
And all inhumane deportation and detention programs. Abolishing ICE
Rashida Tlaib,
families from the militarization that is happening in our neighborhoods.
brainless cow.
Listen to the words of disrespect. This isn't minor criticism of the government or even vigorous criticism of the government. This is a wholesale effort to burn it down. And Lord knows that on social media, we don't respect each other at all. Democrats and we Republicans can all do better. But back to how we started, how we treat the men and women in uniform. Many Black Americans believe that they are unfairly targeted by police. And many police officers believe they're unfairly targeted too, when they're just trying to do their jobs. And this is how things end up.
So, folks, if you want a Democrat for president, We'll take Bill de Blasio. And then police nationwide will be spat upon, drenched with water, have buckets thrown at their heads, because in the Democrat universe, that's okay. It's all right. They're the police. They deserve it. Well, maybe you want to live in America like that, but no normal person does.
Young men sitting in a car laughing at what they think is the humiliation of police officers who are doing everything they could, their jobs. Knowing they'll post the video, you bet, which will get them a lot of likes and maybe some more yucks. No wonder so many cities are having trouble recruiting police today. Would you subject yourself to this abuse day in and day out? Perhaps it was Mike Huckabee last night who said it best.
When there's a crime in the neighborhood, call on somebody with a water hose. See how that works out for you.
Respect and the lack of it. That's the angle.
Yeah, that's the angle, and that's the message that I've been trying to get across on this show for 11 years, that our society is coming apart at the seams, and there is nothing that shows more clearly than the humiliation of those police officers who were just doing their jobs. They weren't brutalizing anybody, weren't choking anybody, weren't shooting anybody, doing their jobs, and the animals, the low-life cretins who were throwing water at them, or those who were laughing at the water having been thrown. Those are the cancer cells I've been talking about. Those are the people America doesn't need. Those are the people who are killing this country. When I was growing up, I learned to respect people and to respect authority. Well, it's gone. It's gone. I've referred to this as the garbagification of America, and it is proceeding full speed ahead. And who knows what the hell this country is going to be like 20, 30, 40 years from now. My solace is I won't be here to see it 40 years from now. What about you? What about your children? What about your grandchildren? Because doing nothing now, sitting and being apathetic now, means you're damaging your children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren and making the America they're going to live in just about unlivable. So stop and think about that. Think of the future. Think of how disgusting the present is. We'll be back.
Our health and nutrition profile is a free 1-hour interview with one of our counselors. We look at what we eat, what we drink, exercise, meditation, your skin, food trading, health, history, your family history, everything that makes you a unique person. No one is exactly like you. Then we will suggest some food changes. Maybe you should add something to your diet. Maybe you should eliminate something. Then we suggest bring everybody supplement your diet. We usually suggest between 2 and 5 days, 60 capsules of between 15 and 100 remember, you're not obligated to produce anything. Almost at 888-765 first, that's 888-765-4372 to set your no obligation. Suffering from low key, and grab your rod and your wife. What the upper north side valley is an offering that drop payment up to 970-460-8873 or book the trip to trippickers.com. At the end of your trip, you'll be happy and you'll love it. Why does it seem America is slowly sinking? Whose fault is it? It's not the Obamas or the Clintons. It's not Republicans or Democrats. It's not corporations, the military, or foreign countries. It's the Federal Reserve. The central banking system made up of private bankers that corrupt and control virtually all aspects of the world's money supply and economy. All of the major problems of the world are to the Federal Reserve and central banks of other countries. Hi, I'm Jason with the Colorado Frontman. Catch my show with co-host Brian here on KHMC 3 to 4 Monday through Friday. We sell gold and silver, the best way to protect your hard-earned money. Call 800-951-0592 and keep those blood-sucking bankers out of your wallet.
All right, folks, welcome back to Real Truth. We were just talking about Ilhan Omar and what a disgrace she is to the Congress and to America in general. Here's Tom Fitton, the head of Judicial Watch, on the Glenn Beck Show, talking about Ilhan Omar. Let's listen closely.
Tom Fitton is the president of Judicial Watch. That's a public interest group that investigates and prosecutes government corruption. They have been around for a long time. Tom Fitton is their president at Judicial Watch, and they have just filed a House ethics complaint against Ilhan Omar. Welcome to the program, Tom. Thanks. We're doing a special tonight, and the mainstream media makes this into conspiracy theory, or they say this is just crazy, right-wingers. But we've had the Minneapolis Star Tribune do an investigation themselves and verify the investigation outrages the right-wingers, and they even can confirm, they can confirm about 60% of it, and the rest of it they can't disprove without your participation. These are serious, serious crimes. What we're presenting tonight, I believe, is enough for an indictment and a call for a grand jury. I gather you're at the same place. Well, it's certainly not that we're in a criminal investigation into what went on there, and everything that they can say is not very good there. The kind of thing that's like an overall type of corruption scandal. And their hometown left-wing newspaper essentially took a stamp of approval and confirmed that this is actually what going on there. I think it's pretty hard now for the Justice Department to ignore the Department of Homeland Security and the Mueller Act, and that there's a critical process for handling ethics concerns related to this type of activity, which is what what's necessary. Just perhaps we're not naive as to the anti-crime propaganda. We just got to try to make the system work. We just try to remind these members they're not above the law and hold other members accountable if they're going to try to let them get away with it. And I think that they do think they're above the law. I mean, we're talking perjury.
Hang on one second. Can you prove that they're not above the law? Who's gone to jail? Who's been investigated except Donald Trump? Of all the crummy, illegal things that the Democrats do, who's paid a price for it? It certainly looks to me as if they are above the law. How do you feel about that?
immigration fraud, marriage fraud, state and federal tax fraud, federal student loan fraud. If it was you, Tom, or if it was me, how much trouble would we be in? How much jail time would we be looking at?
Yeah, this would be an easy prosecution if it were a regular individual involved in it. But this is a politically connected figure, now a member of Congress. I'm sure the Justice Department would be horrified of having to do something here. But that's the goal of filing this ethics complaint. Not only will it put pressure on the House to do something about it, but highlight the issue for the Justice Department to follow up.
So hang on just a second. You say it would be very easy. Why would it be very easy? It's complicated.
Well, it's not that complicated. So your listeners should know, it looks like Miss Omar came into the United States using the name of another family.
The Omar family.
Her siblings, including her brother, went to the United Kingdom. It looks like she married her brother to give him some type of immigration benefits here in the United States. It's unclear how that plays out. So it's so bad that we can't be confident that, as we point out, it's not her. She's going by another name that's not her own as a member of Congress. It's extraordinary.
So
Well, it's almost like having a president named Barack Obama whose real name is Barry Soetoro. Wouldn't that be weird?
It seems to be pretty well documented that this is what happened. What I can't figure out is, why did she come with her father, her father and her sister, and go under the Omar family, with the other siblings going to the UK? Is it because the Omars could only take a certain number of people, or why didn't they take the whole family under the Omar name? Do you know?
Well, I'm not sure about that, but remember, this is these are refugees. They were in Kenya at the time. I mean, who knows what was going on? Maybe they could only bring 3 individuals in with.
Folks, isn't that where we want to recruit more Americans from countries like Kenya and Somalia? Isn't that where we're looking for new arrivals? Really getting the best and brightest, right?
The family's name, or the other members wanted to go to the United Kingdom for other reasons. My guess is
DNA evidence shows that 80% of Somalis coming in are not related to the people they say they're related to.
80% of Somalis coming into America are lying by saying their family members are actually family members. Apparently, they're not. So what does that tell you about Somalis? What does it tell you about Somali culture? And what does it tell you about who we want and who we don't want coming into America? It is absolute insanity.
Yeah, and that might be happening with the window from the party. The point is get the refugees in and the names. However, important might be to
Yeah, get the refugees in, the immigrants in, have them lie, have them falsify, have them come here and become maggots, and then they'll vote Democrat. So, folks, if you vote Democrat, how do you feel about being counted with life forms like this? This is your Democrat Party. They've been doing this for years and years and years. And now at least one of them has made it all the way to Congress. Is that okay with you? It's not okay with me. Any party that habitually lies, falsifies, slanders, subverts is not a party that should exist in this country. Certainly not one that any decent person will support. Ugh, Ilhan Omar, what a disaster. When we come back, we're going to be hearing from Dennis Prager about the media. He says the media is more of a threat to the United States than Russia. I concur totally. We'll be back.
They're all pretty much.
All right, guys, the liberal media, both words are important. Liberal and media. Liberal because it shows that they are conniving, dishonest losers, and media which shows they have power to influence people. The media is more of a threat than Russia, says Dennis Prager. Here he is on Fox and Friends.
What's a bigger threat to America? Fake news or Russia? Bringing talk show host Dennis Prager looking on taking on this. News media on the left is far greater danger than the disinformation and bullshit media.
So where's the real racism today, my friends? Where's the real racism today? They took down Shakespeare's picture from the English department because he's white.
Really?
Yeah, I don't care where you can see his movie. But truth is being convoluted. America is being denigrated by the people who grew up in it, benefit from it, and hope to continue to live here. My friends, I've been yammering for years about our society coming apart at the seams. And all my yammering, I think if I was on a second hour every day, I still wouldn't put a dent in it. You know why? Because this is more than a job for one person or one handful of people. This is a job for everyone, which means, yep, once again, I'm going to be pointing to you. I'm pointing at you. In small ways and big ways, take action against our society being brought low, against the garbageification of America. It can't continue. If it does, we're all finished. I will take a break, and we will finish with Real Truth.
Before hiring a realtor from a big corporation who outsources their job that pays little to no taxes, ask yourself, what's really want in a realtor? You need a realtor that's honest and has integrity. A realtor is focused on the client's bottom line, not the realtor's bottom line. It provides personal, over-the-top service before, during, and after the transaction. You want a realtor that knows how to market your property. Hi, I'm James Morgan, a realtor with Grisham and Associates LLC. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Land deals, mountain cabins, or urban dwellings, I've got you covered. For the first-time home buyer, we will make it the best experience. If you are looking to move up or downsizing, we will do better than your last transaction. Call me today at 720-203-0731 or visit coloradoproperties.online. Let me do a great job for you. Grandpa's Farm and Garden, living on farm in the Frederick, Colorado. We specialize in getting Colorado 400 percent. We also buy, sell, and trade for gold, silver, used commodities, archery equipment, laws, side-by-side, farming to the level. We buy and collect definitive appraisals, which is what friendship purposes should accompany us. We are coordinated in Colorado Centralized Land Gun Dealer, and because we have a lot of local big box stores, we can beat big box stores by $20 per gun. And we have the lowest entry rates in Northern Colorado, half of what the corporate stores charge when you're doing it. Come and see if your grandpa's Farm and Gun, if you love guns, if you love local companies. Check us out on the web, www.grandpa'sfarm.com or 303-762-7952.
Item from studyfinds.org, Dateline, Guelph, Ontario. The term fat cat is thrown around quite frequently, usually not to describe actual cats, but A new study out of the University of Guelph finds that cats are indeed getting fatter. Unquote. My friends, it's Canada, so it doesn't bother me so much, but some idiot funded this research on whether or not cats are gaining weight. You think maybe that money could have been spent a little smarter? Item from the American Mirror. Illegal aliens are growing more brazen on the border. A new video from the Mexican side shows migrants clashing with CBP agents late last week. The chaotic, shaky video shows migrants fighting with border agents around a concrete barrier topped with concertina wire. "You're shooting, I want to speak with you," a presumed migrant shouted at agents. One person can be seen stumbling around, likely hit with tear gas. "Shoot, shoot, shoot, shoot," he taunted. Unquote. Folks, how much chaos would there be at the border if these people, these illegals, simply got shot? Probably not a whole bunch of chaos. Item from the Atlantic. An astonishing number of students start college in America without finishing it. Roughly 40% of college enrollees don't go on to get a degree within 6 years of starting to work toward one. Item from the Sun. George Michael's ex Fadi Fawaz was dramatically arrested after going berserk and allegedly smashing up the late singer's £5 million British pound house. Cops swooped in on the London property last night after neighbors saw a topless Fadi, 46, standing on the roof. Fadi was arrested after allegedly smashing up George Michael's home. Folks, this used to be a gay couple, George Michael and Fadi Fawaz. How odd to see gays acting in a ridiculous manner. Item from studyfinds.org. So many of us spend a great deal of time each day staring at screens, from computer desktops at work to smartphones or televisions during our free time. The average American is spending more time staring at a screen than ever before. Now, a new survey of 2,000 adults has found that a whopping 88% are so-called zombie eaters who stare at some type of screen while eating. Unquote. My friends, guilty as charged. Item from the Rutherford Institute. Enough with distractions, enough with the partisan jousting, enough with sniping and name-calling and mudslinging that do nothing to make this country safer or freer or more just. We have let the government's evil doing, its abuses, power grabs, brutality, meanness, inhumanity, immorality, greed, corruption, debauchery, and tyranny go on too long. We are approaching a reckoning. This is the point, as the poet W.B. Yeats warned, when things fall apart and anarchy is loosed upon the world. Folks, this is an excellent piece. I want you to go to Rutherford.org. The Rutherford Institute, John Whitehead wrote this piece. It talks about the common thread we've had throughout the show, the coming apart of America, the lawlessness of America, the disregard of civilized rules by Americans. Go to the Rutherford Institute and read this latest essay by John W. Whitehead. And you know, folks, it makes me fear for the future, because we can elect new politicians, but we can't elect a new national psyche. We can't change our national culture. And man alive, do we need to. It's absolutely essential that we save this country, and we've got to start educating each other, educate ourselves, and just be better people. Be better people. That's all it takes. All right, I'm all done. I will be back tomorrow with more real truth. In the meantime, my friends, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay angry.